So, hello everybody, and welcome to Orion Studios' first ever podcast. I'm Jamie Bentley. I am the co-owner of Orion Studios, and I also play the Doctor in the audio drama Doctor Who: Fading Light, which is set to release in 5 months. Jacob Millhill, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes,
I think I've done it for you, but.
I'm Jacob Michael Musselwhite. I'm a cosplayer in the cosplay community. I'm also a YouTuber and a content creator. I'm known as Abrupt Canine on YouTube. I do gaming, and I want to do more vlogs for my con trips, as well as also do more reviews, like talks on Doctor Who and stuff, because I have a massive passion for the show. It's always been my comfort. In fact, Sophie, we've met a few times. The first time I met you was actually at Knock-On a few years ago. I don't know if it was before or after COVID. I think it was before COVID.
I think it was
I can't remember fully.
Yes, I remember.
But I met you the first time at Knock-On.
Oh.
And let me just say right now, it's an honor to be here with you, because you are such a angel and such a divine part of the community. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Jacob. How lovely.
That's so lovely. But we've saved the best till last. The final Jacob.
Yeah, the one with the busted camera.
Oh, his camera broken. Oh, we're gonna have to make up what you look like.
You know,
we'll do a quick little emoticon.
Oh right, yeah. Gosh, I wish I could remember. So you have to describe yourself now. What do you look like? Bearing in mind you could make it all up.
Yeah, I look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime, and
Oh,
I wish.
amazing. Great. That'll do.
But I'm Jacob Rhodes, and I am the owner of Orion, and also now just realising don't do much else aside from that. I'm just there.
He's got a lot of stuff which we are yet to announce. We're very excited to announce. In fact, we'll probably announce it here later on during the meeting, but if you're okay with that. But here we have our lovely guest, Sophie Aldred, who is Ace from Doctor Who.
Woo! Hello! I'd forgotten it was your first one. Congratulations! Woo!
Here we got the deluxe treatment for number one.
Here we go. Look what I can do. Yay!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
This is actually my first time properly using Zoom, so.
Well, congratulations. Welcome to Zoom. I'm an old hand, so yeah. It's,
Well, I wouldn't say that. Not at all. You haven't aged a day since the classic.
Oh, bless you. I'm coming again.
Well, if you're paying us, yes. But so I've got a list. I've got a few questions on my phone.
Right.
I shall just pull them out. But I'll start off with just a little introduction question. This isn't really structured, so we'll kind of just move from person to person. Because we've all got questions we'd love to ask you. So playing Ace across lots of different formats of media, do you feel like it's any different to how it was before? Like, obviously, you've done Big Finish, you've done Classic Who, and obviously you've had your cameo in Power of the Doctor in 2023. Do you find yourself sort of exploring more with Ace throughout? Like, do you feel like anything about her is different through those progressions of media that you've played her in?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I mean, obviously, by dint of the fact that, you know, as human beings, we get older. Had you ever noticed that? I am now. I can't believe how much older than I was. I am now than I was then. So, you know, that's an automatic sort of it goes with the territory type thing. But of course, that's only really vital when I'm in front of the camera, because otherwise I can luckily still change my voice to sound like 16-year-old Ace. So, for example, the Big Finishes, I never quite know whether I'm going to get a script that is 16-year-old Ace, or is she, you know, which part of her timeline is it? And it's always obvious from the script. what that is. But then I have to remember. I have to remember what I sounded like back then, because our voices do age as we get older, and usually that means in depth and sort of tone of the voice. So it's funny when I watch some of the old Doctor Who's, like for the behind the sofa or on the big screen at the BFI. It's hilarious because I've got this voice up here somewhere, and I have to really, yeah. So yeah, it's that's really the only. And then of course, I've done a lot of thinking about how Ace has grown as a character. It was brilliant doing Power of the Doctor because she's kind of become more, I guess, more thoughtful in a way. Although it's not that she wasn't thoughtful, but she's had the benefit of experience of going through her life. And but then there are of course moments where still beating up a Dalek with a baseball bat, shouting wicked and chucking Nitro 9 around. So that sort of good stuff never leaves Ace, I don't think.
No, and it's it's one of the best things about her character, the humor she can
or the
bring
coat.
and
The coat never leaves either.
Yes.
Always got to go back to the coat.
Yeah, the good
yes.
old. Yeah.
I loved the reference of the coat in the sorry, the Tales of the TARDIS. The coat hanging there, Sylvester's umbrella, and all those little references in the TARDIS.
I mean, I would have brought up the Red Dwarf thing, but that seems a bit off topic, so...
But
Red Dwarf is very welcome. I love all the Red Dwarfy people.
Oh, Sophie's a Red Dwarf fan. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite character?
Oh, I couldn't possibly say. I mean,
Rimmer's the right
like
answer.
Who's your favourite Doctor? I mean, I know them all from conventions, and we all get along really well. So I often see Hattie, and I haven't seen Craig for a while, but I did do an interview with him for his radio show last year. When was it last year? Can't even remember. Anyway, Craig and I have done lots of stuff together, and then Danny John Jules. We used to do a lot of kids radio together back in the day. Working together as presenters, and Robert, let's see, and Chris. I always have a good old chat about cars with Chris, and with Robert, it's sustainability, and it's brilliant.
That's
So,
lovely. Do you mind if I ask the next question, actually? Because that actually perfectly ties into one of my questions.
that's wonderful. I was just about to say who was asking the next question. So please go right ahead.
Because when you joined Doctor Who, it was very much it was very much on life support. It was struggling for views. There were a lot of things happening behind the scenes with the BBC, but obviously the show continued for a good few years, and it persevered. It's always persevered. But years later, when the show came back, how did it feel like that? It not only came back, but it also garnered such a new audience. It got new merch. It really blew up, and it's still blowing up today. It really is bigger than it ever was. How did it feel to, after doing audios and doing a few, maybe seeing a few of the books being published, during the wilderness years? How did it feel to suddenly see it come back in such a big, way? Did you ever think you'd ever be asked back during that time? And how did it feel to sort of see how the legacy of the show and even the classic era was being acknowledged as well? Nothing really got left behind when the show came back.
It was just such great news when it came back, and also in the safe hands of Russell T Davies. I don't know whether at that time anyone else could have pulled that off, but he'd got such a great name for himself doing brilliant things, The Second Coming, Queer as Folk, Casanova, all sorts of great shows. And the BBC were only too delighted to have him come and do anything, I think they even said to him, what would you like to do? And he said, bring Doctor Who back. And they kind of went, oh no, we got to do that. It was a shame. I don't know why the BBC had such a downer on Doctor Who, but they certainly did. And then absolutely. It came back bigger and better than ever. And well, no, I'm not saying better. That's not true. But different and for a new audience. And this is so great because it's expanded throughout the world, probably the universe as well. There might be people, on Mars or, other planets tuning in with their superior technology and thinking, this is a good program. And anyway, then of course I'd never stopped doing Doctor Who. So as you say, with the audios and the books and the this and the that. So, but having said that, when I got the call to actually be in The Power of the Doctor, I think it was the call that I had always hoped for, but I never ever thought I'd get. And it was actually really emotional, and I was absolutely thrilled to come back. It was great.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Jacob Millhill, or shall we let Mr. Rhodes ask a
Let me
question?
just say right now, personally, Doctor Who has always inspired me, and I don't know if you can see it clearly, but here is a picture of little me with the late Liz Sladen.
Oh, superb.
Yeah, it's always inspired me. So many wonderful people behind the show, and the thing that's always meant the world to me, I'll say right now, is the family feel of it. I whenever I'm watching the behind the sofa stuff on the Blu-rays, I feel like you all have such a connection with each other, and that's unlike any show I've ever seen. Really, that connection's never really every actor and every crew from any show has a connection, but with Doctor Who, it's like it spans 60 plus years of so many people and so many wonderful crew, and it just always means the world to me. So I'll say it once again, thank you very much for being a part of that and for inspiring little me, because all of you did that.
Oh, that's so lovely. Wow. I remember the first time I ever met Liz, because of course I used to watch her when I was growing up, and there was a place in London near Centrepoint called Cafe München, and it was a pub, in fact, but they had a lot of Doctor Who events there, things like Doctor Who Appreciation Society anniversaries, and Doctor Who magazine used to have anniversaries, and it was one of those. There was a room upstairs, and there was this crush of people, masses of people, and across the crowded room I saw Liz, and she clocked me for the first time as well, and we just moved towards each other through the crowd, threw our arms around each other. I didn't even know she would know who I was, and I said, it's so amazing to meet you. I loved you in Doctor Who when I was growing up. And she said, thank you for doing such a great job. I said, do you still watch it? She said, yes, of course I do, and you are really fantastic. I love Ace. And then it was just, we always had a great friendship from then on.
Yeah.
That's lovely. That takes me right back, because when I met Liz at the church in Beccles, because that's where it was at a meet and greet at Beccles, we didn't have a photographer, we didn't have a camera with us. So this lovely photographer who ran the Doctor Who store of Beccles came up and was like, I'll take a picture with you guys. And when I went over, it was so like she just immediately was so nice. I can still remember the warm smile she gave as she put her arm around me and we took the picture. It was lovely, so lovely.
That's wonderful.
Great.
Mr. Rhodes, would you like to ask Sophie a question?
The man of mystery.
The man of mystery, Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't have that much charisma.
You're not allowed to say that after that big build-up.
I am determined.
If anything, I have the personality of a wet flannel.
I'm sure you
I can't believe that. What do you want to ask?
I was going to ask, as most classic Doctor Who companions at the time were, I wouldn't go as far as say damsels, but they were quite. I don't know the correct terminology. Words of
say damsels. I think that's a good word.
Okay, I'll go with damsels.
Yeah.
But as they were mostly damsels until that point, most with them having a few moments of outside the box thinking or one-upping the Doctor, how did it feel to be the companion that completely broke the mold? Basically, I'd almost say the rogue companion of the classic Who era.
with a
Oh, I
baseball
like
bat.
that.
Oh yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, there were really. I mean, Liz Sladen, for example, Sarah Jane Smith had a job. She was allowed to have dialogue other than "What's happening, Doctor?" and screaming and twisting her ankle. But most of the companions, I agree, kind of would start off as a strong woman, a strong character, and then they would kind of just fall into a sort of cipher. Leela was strong and tough, but then she did have to wear very revealing costume, and she was for the dads, as they said in those days, in those unenlightened days.
Back when.
And so I was very surprised actually when I got the part, because my impression of Doctor Who companions was that they screamed and they ran away from monsters, and they certainly didn't catapult Cybermen with gold coins and with Nitro 9. So it wasn't really until I got the first script that I got Dragonfire, and I went, oh right, I see, yeah, this is a different kind of character. And I was absolutely thrilled from day one to be playing such a strong young woman, because back in 1987, there was nothing like Ace on popular TV. There was nothing for young women and young men and young people who didn't know whether they were women or men, which now, thankfully, everybody's allowed to experiment with. And know for themselves who they are and get to be that. Thank goodness. Back in the day, it wasn't thought of, to have a realistic, and this is the feedback I get from many, many people, that they watched Ace at the time and they went, oh, at last, somebody I can really relate to, somebody who, because she wasn't beating up things all the time and she wasn't feisty all the time. She was also very soft at moments, when you think of, there's a scene in Remembrance of the Daleks where Mike comes around, and there I am with my hair all down in a dressing gown, and she's very sort of loving and soft and vulnerable. She's very vulnerable as well, but we're all those things, all of us. We have the capacity to be strong and tough, and to be vulnerable, and to be mean, and to be angry, and to be happy, and to be sad. And I think that that's the wonderful thing about the character of Ace, is that humanity was reflected in the writing. Those human beings we all are was taken up by all those writers and really run with, which I was just so delighted to be able to get to play.
That's one.
And wouldn't have it any other way. Ace, the only companion to try and get a home run with a Dalek.
Twice.
Twice, yes.
Don't forget the Daleks in Power of the Doctor.
I couldn't
good
believe,
lord, yeah.
when Chris, when I got the script and I realised that he'd written that scene in, and I got to beat up a Dalek again, that was just so fantastic.
It was physically hitting the model. Were you actually physically hitting the model?
Yes, I was.
Wow.
Well, both times. The first time, there's an outtake somewhere which shows that apparently I hit the wrong thing at first, because I couldn't even remember, because they were meant to put in a stunt Dalek for me to hit, but nobody told me. So I whacked this Dalek to bits, and it was, you can see one of the sort of the knobble things on the Dalek sort of pings off, and then in Power of the Doctor, I think a lesson. So I had to aim. Funnily enough, I had to aim for the eyepiece, as the Doctor says in Remembrance of the Daleks, and because that was the breakable bit, and the black bit at the front with the eye bit on the front. So I whacked that, and the bits kind of shed like that, and it was quite funny because John Davey, who's one of the people who does the the inside of Cybermen, and you'll see him. He's done loads and loads and loads of Doctor Who's. He was there because he was inside one of the Daleks in another scene, and he came up and he said, "Hey, Soph, why don't you pick up the pieces and then you can, you can give them away to auctions and stuff, and you can autograph." I thought, yeah, great idea. So he and I were going around every take, where I think I did about 3 or 4 takes. We were just going around, picking up these off the floor and stuffing them in our pockets. So I've now got a little collection of shattered Dalek eyepiece pieces, which I give to people for charity and things like that, which is quite funny.
That's amazing. It's just the little things that happen on set that can be like such an impactful or long-lasting memory.
Exactly.
It's such like an amazing little thing, and Doctor Who's amazing. It's inspired me to do go in the performing arts department, and it's why I'm doing this now. This whole project is purely a passion-based project. So.
Oh, that's brilliant! Oh, that's really good to hear. Yeah, so, it's a program that inspires a lot of different media kind of outlets for people. I think it's just incredible. Artistic, scientific. People come and tell me at conventions. Somebody came up and said, "I became a medical doctor because of Doctor Who," or "I am a research scientist or astronomer, or artist, or comic book writer and illustrator." I mean, just the inspiration that has come from Doctor Who over the years is brilliant and endless.
Yeah, I don't think it'll have end. It's one of those it's one of those things that'll just keep on growing and growing and growing. And it's just also one of those shows that can last forever, because obviously with Chris Chimble's imagination, he's spread out the Doctors so that it can be like an infinite number of Doctors. These stories could last for like they'll outlast us.
Exactly. And it's a wonderful feeling to feel that it didn't die in 1989 with Sylvester and me walking off into the bushes, but that actually it will continue in some shape or form or other endlessly, because it's a wonderful format. Because you can go anywhere in space and time. You can have anyone playing the Doctor. You can have anyone playing the companion. It's the kind of the perfect formula, and it tells one of the sort of endless stories that we're always fascinated with as human beings, of good against evil, right against wrong, and also this sort of like that there is somebody who can come and help humanity in their hour of need. That's a story that kind of is well, you've got cowboys and Indians, those films, you've got that sort of story. You've got, you've even got all the major religious connotations as well. The major religions always have somebody who's a kind of, a figurehead for good in that.
Knights going on quests to slay dragons, like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's brilliant.
I've got another question for you, if that's okay. I just need to pull it up on my notes. So obviously you go to a lot of comic conventions. So I'm just wondering, out of curiosity, is there a certain event that stands out for the rest? Something in particular that happened? Anyone that you kind of met? Is there anything that kind of stood out to you? Any sort of funny stories that you're willing to share with us? Or
Oh my goodness. I mean, I love going to conventions. I love meeting the fans, and I love the variety of sizes and forms of conventions as well. So it can be a tiny little event like Jacob, you were describing you went to in Beccles all those years ago, or it can be a massive great Comic-Con like the one I met you at, Jamie, in Birmingham. So, there's everything in between. And I think actually what sprang to mind the moment you said that was being at the 50th anniversary at the Excel in London, and there was an announcement, and it was at the exact time that Doctor Who went out 50 years previously. On the exact day, I was sitting next to Carol Ann Ford and William Russell, and it was this moment of like, oh my goodness, I could never have imagined when I was little and watching, well, the first Doctor Who I remember is John Pertwee, but when I was watching Katie Manning and Liz Sladen, and then found out about the previous Doctor Who's, and I could never have imagined in a million years that come the 50th anniversary, I would be sitting there, having been in the show with two of the people who created it originally. And that to me was just like incredible, really amazing women.
What gems they are. They are such gems, honestly. I mean, rest in peace, William, honestly. Well, I mean, all of them such gems.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think for all the Comic-Cons and the conventions and all the events, we love meeting the fans, and we also love meeting each other, because I know pretty much everybody who's been in classic Doctor Who, certainly, and a lot of the people who've been in the newer Who as well. And it's like, it is a family. I thought when I first started, well, that's a bit corny, you know. Somebody said, welcome to the family, and I thought, you know, that's a bit yucky. But actually, it is. And any of us would do anything for anyone. And we message each other outside of conventions as well, and we check up on each other. And Annika and I write to each other as she sends me photos of her garden. You know, I send her news of my sons. It's just lovely. It's like having an extended family. It is really an amazing thing to be involved with.
That's wonderful. With your permission, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the upcoming project that we're doing, just for about a minute or two. Then we'll move on to some more questions.
Great, yes, please.
So I'm basically the director and producer of a audio drama called Doctor Who: Fading Light. It is set after Nshute's Doctor, and I'll talk a little bit about the first episode. We've got actors of the likes of Trev Fleming, Yasmin Conway. We've got Ben Caudry as our main villain. Our main villain is called the Mastermind. Trev Fleming is playing our unit commander called Alex Gray. And but there's something bigger about him that we'll all soon learn about in the next 5 months. So all is not as it seems at Unit HQ. It's the episode is called 2245, and the premise of it is there is a ship which shouldn't exist, and there is a life form on board with 2 hearts. So the Doctor is sent out to investigate with his companion, played by Elizabeth Clark, who is called Eleanor Lethbridge Stewart.
Oh, amazing. That sounds fantastic. Well, good luck with that. That sounds really, really good.
Yeah. Well,
and actually, if we're plugging things, can I plug something?
Of course you can, yes.
Okay, so earlier you were mentioning my coat, and I'm doing a book about the coat called Ace Jacket. And it's
wonderful.
Basically a book that, it was an idea actually from a fan who's become a friend, a guy called Sean Levy. And he had this idea because he's a big cosplayer, and he has a group called Who Knows Cosplay.
Yes, I know Sean. I know Sean very well.
Sean. Okay, so Sean came to me and he said, hey, Sophie, what about having a book for cosplayers? Because, you know, your jacket changes all the time, and cosplayers want to know where the badges came from, what the different iterations of the jacket are, and also why don't we write stories about each of the badges? and they could be true or not or whatever. And I said to him, absolutely, and I will ask people who've been in Doctor Who or involved in the world of Doctor Who, I'll ask them to pick their badge, pick a favourite badge, and write a story or a poem or a drawing or something about each badge. So that's what we're doing. And then the other part of the book is that people with their own ace jackets, fans with their own ace jackets, can take a photo of themselves and send it in, and to include it and say what the jacket means to them, and they'll be included in the book as well. And we found a wonderful publisher who's an old friend of mine called Barnaby Eaton Jones, who is a fantastic audio producer, book publisher, actor. He just does a bit of everything. And his publishing wing it's Chinbeard Books. Chinbeard Books. So if you look up Chinbeard Books, you can pre-order a copy. I think you can send in your photos of yourselves with the ace jacket on, and we are launching the book on the 7th of June at an event in London in Macbeth Street. Can't say Macbeth very loudly, but it's in Hammersmith, and it is the school where we filmed Remembrance of the Daleks. So it's basically Coal Hill School, and we are launching the book there on the 7th of June, and it's called Boom is the event. And again, you can look that up if you fancy coming along on Cygnus Alpha events. Cygnus Alpha do a lot of fantastic Doctor Who events. So yeah, that'd be great to see you there.
That's wonderful.
I'm just delighted. Oh, the profits of the book are going to a charity for people with autism, or a couple of charities for people with autism.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, because I'm on the spectrum, so that means a lot to hear. So thank you very much.
Good. Yeah.
I know I'm freeing up my calendar.
So can I just ask our owner if we'd like to talk a little bit quickly about his project that he's doing?
Okay, Jesus. Well, there's two. I'm assuming you mean the bigger one.
Just whichever one you feel comfortable with sharing details with this time. It's up to you.
Okay. So, the first project that we're actually going to be properly releasing is our fan-made project of Red Dwarf, called Red Dwarf Into the Stars, which takes place about, I think it's around 30,000 years after the events of the actual show, in which it has the same kind of archetypes of the original crew, just a bit different, and they hate each other a lot more. And basically, it's the same antics of them just going around space, being a bunch of, I can't say that word, and basically just messing about in space, causing havoc, and all while trying to find the remnants of the original Red Dwarf crew.
It's very exciting.
We have Jamie, who's in it. Yeah,
Hi.
I'm calling you out again. We have a wonderful voice actor called Athena Nobelium. Incredible workers, Bender and Al. Myself as Rimmer, because I'm the only one who could be that cruel.
Because he's egotistical.
Yes. And Elizabeth Clark as the Captain Christina Kringle.
Yeah.
So basically, small cast with a bunch of other side characters. Basically, as wacky can get.
Yeah. Very much capturing the essence of the original Red Dwarf while putting our own little spin on it. Could I also, am I allowed to say, Jacob, about one of the crew members, which I'm very excited to talk about, which is the return of Mr. Rat.
Only one episode Skipper.
There's one episode, Red Dwarf Skipper, where Rimmer's looking for another dimension where he's not as much of a loser, and he finds one with Lister where he's like really posh and fancy, and he has like a collection of vintage wires or something on the other. And instead of there being Cat, there was Mr. Rat, who
Danny John Jules in a massive rat fursuit.
Oh, great.
And it's the most, well, I think it's the most urban American accent that's ever been.
Like, yo, Craddy, where my dinner at?
Or
I'm so excited for it. I'm not part of it, but I will say as well, I am also a stand-in voice actor. We do have some roles planned for me. We will not be revealing them as of yet, but big plans for me as well. So
unfortunately, it'll be till next year until we can announce him. I'm sure he's very impatient to disclose it, but
so impatient. It's torture.
Oh, I know. Keep your hair on.
I'm just that kid in the corner, you know. I'm just sat in the corner, like.
No, I'll stuff you under the sofa where you used to hide watching Doctor Who. But, so I just sort of asked, does anyone here have any burning questions they want to ask Sophie?
Jacob's finger, straight up.
Here we go. So, like, Doctor Who's always been a show that's always, looked to find, new ideas and new ways to reimagine itself. It's always innovating and always coming up with new ideas. And, there are so many brilliant writers and so many, like, both writers that have actually written for the official show. Like, for example, there was, I can't remember his name now, and I'm probably going to get chastised in the comments by some people for it, but there was this amazing writer from back in the day that submitted a script during the 70s era of Doctor Who, and they had to reject it because he was still very, very young at the time. But then years later, he actually submitted the script to Full Circle, and they accepted it, and he's still to this day one of the youngest writers of the show. So there's always new innovations and always so many new ideas and concepts. Have you ever felt an inspiration? I mean, obviously with the book you're writing, but like in terms of like Doctor Who, the show, like have you ever like been in discussions with, I know, Big Finish or book writers or script writers about your own ideas for the show? Have you ever been in that department or felt any?
Not really. I mean, the thing about Doctor Who is I wouldn't dare presume to know as much. The amount of Doctor Who compared to the people who work on it and the fans. I mean, I could probably put into my little finger, the amount I know. But I loved doing the novel I did at Childhood's End, which was a collaboration with Mike Tucker and Steve Cole. That was a really great thing to be asked to do. And I
actually
really
ordered a copy of that a few days ago. So
cool, great stuff. And then I did a short story for a book called Origin Stories, which is the origin stories of the companions. And I've done one, Katie Manning's done one. There's quite a few people. And in a way, I was even more proud of that than I was of the whole novel, because it was all my own work. It wasn't a collaboration. It was my idea, my writing, the whole thing. And I stuffed as many Easter eggs as I possibly could in there. For example, there's the head teacher of Ace's school I called Mr. Michaels, after Michael, who was the head teacher in Remembrance of the Daleks. So, there's all sorts of things like that. And it's kind of set in Perivale. It's very much like sort of the Perivale that you see in Survival. And I was very proud of that. And then now I've written I wrote a book called Ace, the inside story of the end of an era, with Mike Tucker a long time ago. That was, which was it was mainly because we had this massive collection of photographs that we'd both taken on set. So it's like a sort of scrapbook, and I wrote my memories of things and he wrote stuff about the visual effects and the models and so on. And I loved writing that, and I'm so glad I did, because I think if I hadn't written that, I wouldn't have remembered all the things. And we've got cast lists and things like that. So it's a lovely book for fans, but it's also a lovely book for me because it brings back all these amazing, happy memories of working on the show. And now this Ace Jacket book, which again has been a great excuse for me to get in touch with all my friends from Doctor Who and say, I wondered if you'd mind, could you just, No. So the latest one I've managed to get to do something is Lee Sullivan, the brilliant illustrator who he's got, and people get back to me straight away and say, yes, I'd love that. So I'm so thrilled that they have. It's just, yeah, it's wonderful. And the variety of stuff that's coming in is just amazing as well. So yeah, I mean, I do find Doctor Who has, I don't think I could do a Big Finish script. I have asked if I might be able to direct Big Finish though, and Nick Briggs said yes, what a great idea. The only problem with that is finding the time to actually do it, because I'm doing so much voiceover work, audiobooks, that I literally have not had time to do it yet. But that's something that's something on the cards for the future.
That's wonderful. And I just want to give Jacob Rhodes another chance to ask a question, because me and the other Jacob have we've took a lot of her time, and I know she doesn't have much time left. So, Mr. Our esteemed donor, would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, well, not from me, but rather from my partner, coincidentally also called Ace. So, the question is, as referenced earlier, Ace was like the first companion to completely break the mold of classic stereotypes from then. How does it feel knowing that you're an inspiration to millions and millions of girls around the world, and also just an inspiration for people to start writing stuff and for cosplays, and just basically be a light amongst a massive community?
Oh, it's always an incredible, I know this word is kind of overused, but I'll use it anyway because it describes what it is. It's a privilege. It really is such a privilege. And when people tell me that, it's like, because when we were making Doctor Who, well, it was 87 to 89 I was doing it, I had no idea that would happen, you know? I had no idea that I knew Ace was a great character and I loved playing her. I still do. I mean, it's the part of a lifetime. It really, really is. I can't imagine any other part that I could have possibly wanted. You know, she's just such an amazing character, and it's a complete honour. And if I have inspired people along the way, which it seems that I have done, or rather Ace has done, then that is just very thrilling to me, to think that something I do for such pleasure brings happiness and inspiration to other people and makes a difference to other people. I mean, what more could you want in life, basically?
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. Sorry, I'll let Jacob
I was just going to say I couldn't agree more. It's can I just add on? Does it feel like you need to uphold a certain it doesn't feel like a burden, does it, to have that kind of?
But that's a great question. It's a responsibility, but not in a burdensome way. It's a responsibility in as a kind of a real gift to myself and to other people. I like the way of looking at responsibility in that way, that it's something that I feel very strongly about. So I have always maintained this, you know, I've conducted myself in a certain way, and it's I think that's really important when you are somebody who people look up to. I want to be that sort of person, and I think I've kind of created myself as the kind of person who owns that, and I think that's a very good point. But it's never a burden. No, I think maybe for some people it might be, but personally speaking, it's a complete gift.
Yeah.
Well, for doing a job as an inspiration that you didn't know you had, you knocked it out of the park like a Dalek.
Very good. I like
That's
that.
wonderful. So I just want to.
Let
Sorry.
me just say as well. Let me just say as well, like in terms of, because you mentioned earlier, like it wasn't so much you, but more Ace that inspired people. I just want to say as well that it was 100% you, because Ace couldn't have been created without your acting. Like you are like, to me, you without you there is no Ace. Like,
Oh,
so
Jake,
you say it was Ace that inspires people. No, you inspire people. Just you're an amazing person. So once again,
Jacob.
Thank you as well for always just continuing to play this part and showing such a passion for it. Honestly, it's incredible.
It's like the 2018 reveal ceremony with Keanu Reeves. He points the finger to the crowd and says, "You're breathtaking."
That's lovely. Oh,
But I also want to ask. We've got a question from our fans. Funnily enough, I did a post saying, "What question would you like to ask Sophie?" So this is from Mario's_rights. So as you have returned to the Doctor Who universe in Jodie's era with Power of the Doctor, would you ever consider having your own spin-off series if offered with Janet Fielding, as you both rocked together and you are both Ace?
oh, I would like nothing better. That would be amazing. It would be wicked, because I love working with Janet. Whenever we get together, we have such a fun time. We were together with Gemma actually a couple of weeks ago in London at the Megacon at the XL, and I don't know, I just love I love being with Janet, and I think we made such a good team as well that yes, if I was ever asked to do anything to do with Doctor Who ever again, I would just say yes before they'd even finish the sentence, basically.
I know it's obviously a lot more likely now, because obviously Bad Wolf Studios have partnered with Disney, so there's a big possibility for spin-offs, that sort of thing. There was kind of trialled with Tales of the TARDIS, which I do hope there will be a revival of that. I think it was an amazing opportunity to, obviously we've seen compared with PC Doctors like Colin Baker return. We've seen lots of old faces and familiar people coming back. I think it's wonderful.
Yes.
But so does anyone have any more questions?
How are we on time? Quickly.
How are we on time, Sophie?
Oh yes, I must go actually.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's no problem.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a quick question? Like not anything related to a Doctor Who, but just like a quick general question. So I've made an Instagram post to obviously announce that you're part of a podcast. I'm wondering if there's any chance that you could accept the invitation to be like a collaborator, if that's something that you're able to do.
Amazing!
Like it just gives us a bit of a expert. And obviously, it's completely optional. It's up to you.
Yes. What does it entail?
I think all it does is like it posts our post to your account.
Oh yes, please. Yeah.
Is that something that's able that you're able to do?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm totally rubbish with social media, so yeah, fire away, and I'll do whatever's necessary.
It's just I wasn't sure if you'd be okay with it. Obviously, I know it's a lot to ask, but
yeah, sure. No, I'd be happy to do that.
That's wonderful. But it's been an absolute pleasure to have you as our first ever podcast guest on Orion Podcasts and for Orion Studios. Can I also ask, could you this is a bit cringy, but so on the Doctor Who YouTube channel, every time a video ends, there's a doctor that pops up and says, "Don't forget to subscribe to the official Doctor Who YouTube channel."
Yes.
I wondered if you could say, "Don't forget to subscribe to the official Orion Studios YouTube."
Yes, of course I can. Yeah, here goes. The official Orion YouTube channel, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And don't forget to subscribe to the official Orion Studios channel, YouTube channel.
That's
Orion. Yeah, that's it.
My life is now complete.
Good.
That's amazing. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and hopefully this won't be
Thank
the
you
last.
so much.
I'll
It's a
keep
real pleasure to meet you all. Well, see you all again, you two, and good luck with everything that you've got going. And
Thank you so much.
see you around.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you so much for this. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
See you later.